Welcome back to our continuing series on Artlenz techniques. On this segment, we're going to concentrate on the SnowStars stamp. The previous stamps that we used were like color changing backgrounds or active image paper. This is the first one that we're going to have an actual image, and this is a snowflake and a star. And when you look at this as you change it, there is a large snowflake and a little star in the center of each one. And as I move the card from side to side, you'll either see the small star come up or the large snowflake come up. This is very dramatic, and this is what makes the Artlenz technique so unique and so different from any other rubber stamping technique. Actually, when you hold it in your hand, these images seem to almost float up to the top of the lens. I'm going to show you how we do this. In the earlier segments in Artlenz 1, 2, and 3, I demonstrated how we apply the lens, and also with the stamps, my preferred method of inking these stamps is with a brayer and with dye ink. And after I have brayered this stamp, then I will stamp it on white glossy cardstock. And then what I will have will be this, looks sort of like a very pale or light image. And you do not want to over ink this stamp. You do want a light image like this because you want the white spaces between these very fine lines. The lines on this stamp will correspond with the lines on this lens. And when it's lined up completely, and as I place this down, you'll see what I'm talking about. The way I like to get alignment is to place the lens at an angle and then see all of these lines running through the image. And then very slowly, and keeping the lens pressed down very firmly, I'm going to rotate this lens and watch those lines become wider and wider, and they sort of eventually will merge together. And you need to go very slow as you're doing this so that you don't run right past that alignment. And I will sort of keep my eye on one of the images. Maybe I'll concentrate on this small one and watch for either that little small star in the center to come up or the big snowflake to go back in the background. And then when I see that come up, then I can move my head from side to side, and that way I will know that I have the image that will flip. And I'll just sort of keep moving this so that you can see what I'm talking about, how it pops up and goes back. The image that goes back will sort of have a frosty look, and then the image that comes up will be very, very prominent. After I have stamped this, then the next step will be to stamp an image over this. And I use any kind of black ink, StazOn, Ancient Page. You just want to use a nice black. And then I will color it in with dye-based markers. And then I'll be ready to apply my lens. In one of the earlier segments, I think it was on Artlenz 3, I showed you how to use the, or maybe it was 1 or 2, but I showed you how to use the tape method. And if you would like to review that, you can. I'm going to use the release method because this allows me to put my hands down over the entire piece of cardstock and not worry about adhering my lens. And as I place this down, I'm going to concentrate on one of those images and move this very, very slowly. And whenever I see either the small star pop up or the big snowflake go back and recede, I will know that I have this right on the money. And I'm going very slowly so that I will see it right away. Then I'm going to hold that firmly in place and hold this liner and pull it out. Now I'm going to tap it down, reach under here, and pull it. And now I have, what I'm going to do is remove the air. And because this is such a eye-catching or eye-popping technique. You really don't have to have a lot of lens. You don't need to use a whole piece of lens to make a really attractive and fascinating kind of card. You just need a little bit. This technique that I'm showing you here allows you to get at least 4 cards out of one piece of lens. And the way I do that is I cut it with a paper trimmer. This is a blade that's in here, and what this blade will do will score the lens so that that enables me to take the scissors and just cut right through and get a really straight edge. Then I will come back and cut again. And another thing that makes this pop out is also to use any kind of metallic pen and line the edge of the lens, and that really makes it stand out, as you can see how I've done this on that card. And the way I do that is I just make sure that I keep the pen just on the very edge. I'm marking more on the paper than I am on the lens, and this just gives the lens just enough of the metallic to give it that finished look, like this. Again, I cannot tell you how fascinating these cards are and how much fun they are to make. And on the next one segment, we'll be talking about the shadow circles, which is another changing image. See you then.